Hey everybody, and welcome to the 19th episode of the Chainsaw Reacts podcast. Today's podcast, guys, is covering one topic separated into different sections because today, guys, I am covering all of the E3 2015 press conferences that happened this week. I'm so excited to get into these topics. As you can already tell, my energy is up. I'm so excited. So here's how it's going to work. I'm going to go through each press conference. In the description will be the time starts for each press conference. I'm going to go in order as they happen. So if you want to hear my thoughts on the Xbox press conference or the Sony or the Ubisoft or the Bethesda, check the description. You'll see the time starts for each of those. So that's how I'll separate those out, so you can go through each individual one if you want to skip around and all that kind of stuff. But I'm going to go in order as they first started, the first press conference to the last. And understand this, I'm going to list off every game in the press conference that is listed on this breakdown I'm about to go through. But understand, I'm not going to go into extensive detail and talk about my thoughts about each individual game, because that will take forever. I'm only going to talk about the things and games that stand out most to me personally from each press conference. So there is that, guys. So without further ado, let's jump into the first press conference that happened at E3. And that first press conference is the Bethesda that happened on Sunday, June 14th. So let's start off there. It's listed off here because they talked about the big games that were discussed at Bethesda's press conference was Fallout 4, Dishonored 2, Doom 4, and Fallout Shelter. Now, I'm only going to be talking about Fallout 4 and Dishonored 2 and the Doom 4 for only a little bit, then we'll continue on with Microsoft. So, first of all, Fallout 4, the trailer they released before E3 was amazing. Oh my god. That Fallout 4 trailer, I think, was perfect because it set up this really creepy vibe of the post-apocalyptic destruction, and then you get to see before the destruction, and then it keeps going back and forth. You see the dog show up, and then it shows all these different cities, all these different places you can go with your character, all these different creatures and all that kind of stuff, and then you finally get to see your character and the dog in the suit that you're used to seeing from the Fallout series. And I just love the way they ended that trailer. It had this beautiful piano music and this symphony, this orchestra at the end when you see the suit and the dog, and then he sees your character and let's go pal, and then boom, Fallout 4. So that was a great trailer. We got to see some gameplay from Fallout 4. Now, on first glance, if you're not really looking into too much detail of Fallout 4, you'll kind of notice and kind of remember, this looks a lot like Fallout 3. Well, in retrospect, Fallout 3 I think was a huge step in a big way for the Bethesda team in the Fallout series. So I mean, in Fallout 4, yes, you'll probably do incredible new things in the game, but I mean, realistically, the look of this game will just look a little bit better, but not too much. I mean, I think they pushed the limits with Fallout 3. So if Fallout 4 is a huge step, and this is in the glimpses and gameplay we get to see from the E3 event is just like a little bit of what you might get to see. There's a bunch of stuff we don't know about, then I'll be shocked. But I mean, for what it is, I pre-ordered Fallout 4 today as I'm recording this podcast the day before it goes up live on YouTube. But, I'm excited for the game nonetheless, so there's that. So let's continue on with Dishonored 2, which I was actually surprised to hear about this game. I think I heard a rumor that this game was leaked a couple days or a day before its actual official launch at the Bethesda press conference, which is kind of interesting because I didn't hear anything about it. But Dishonored, the first game, was actually a surprise hit for me personally. I really enjoyed the game. I thought it was a very cool stealth kind of artistic type of game where you get to run around. You're being a stealthy type person. You're meeting some interesting characters, and I thought it was just a very interesting game that I thought I would like, but I actually liked it a lot more than I thought. So hearing about Dishonored 2 gets me really excited. I'm very interested to see in what direction they're going to take that game, because for what it is, I think it looks cool. I can't wait to see what exactly is going to happen in the game. But for what it is, Dishonored number 1 got me hooked, so I'm definitely excited to see what Dishonored 2 brings to the table. Now, the final game we'll be talking about in the Bethesda press conference was just Doom 4, which I think looked bloody as hell. But what do you expect from Doom? I mean, at this point, we all know what Doom is all about. So, I mean, with all the blood and gore, I mean, that's what we kind of expect from the gameplay. I mean, it looks beautiful. It looks fantastic for what it is. I mean, the idea and the style of Doom from way back in the day, I mean, it was simplistic, but it really hit with players. And I think with this look, I mean, they didn't go over the board and make it, not feel like Doom at all. They made it feel like Doom, but in a more modern and graphically enhanced way, which is very, very cool. So got to give them props for that, because obviously they could have made this new Doom game be so futuristic and so enhanced and all these new things, and just make it to where fans don't see it as Doom. They see it as it was Doom, but now it's this generic first person shooter. So I like the fact that they've kept some of the liberties from the Doom series in the past and has kept it with this new game. At least we hope for, because the gameplay definitely reminds me of past Doom games, so got to give them props there. So there is that. That is my thoughts on the Bethesda press conference. I thought they did a great job with what they showed off. They showed off some great stuff from Fallout 4, Dishonored 2, and Doom 4. I was really impressed with those games for sure. So I'm definitely excited to see what Fallout 4 especially will bring to the table. So let's get with that. The next press conference, which is a big one for me because I own an Xbox One, and they revealed a bunch of shit. Oh my god. Microsoft press conference. Let's get into this thing, guys. So the big games will go down in the order as it's listed here. And understand, I will not talk about each individual game, but I'll be going over a few as I get done with the thing here. So, big games. Halo 5 Guardians, ReCore, Fallout 4, Plants vs. Zombies, Garden Warfare 2, Forza Motorsport 6, Dark Souls 3, The Division, Rainbow Six Siege, Rise of the Tomb Raider, Rare Replay, Sea of Thieves, and Gears of War 4, and they officially announced the Gears of War Ultimate Edition. Now, before I get into those games, I do want to talk a little bit about the big reveal that was not necessarily a brand new game, but a brand new feature that we were originally told for a long time was not possible. And that, of course, guys, is Xbox 360 backwards compatibility with the Xbox One. This is a huge deal. Oh my god. Listening to the crowd reaction in the press conference when that announcement was made was a mind-blowing thing, because we were told from the very beginning when the Xbox One was first announced that there is no backwards compatibility for 360. And honestly, guys, a lot of people still bitch and complain and all this kind of stuff to Phil Spencer, who is now the head of Xbox, who is the head of that team and the head of everything Xbox, not Microsoft, but just the head of Xbox. And people give him a lot of shit for the Xbox One. People saying is the weaker of the two systems compared to PS4. Understand, Don Matrick, the guy who actually announced the Xbox One, was the guy that sent the Xbox One down the horrible path that it was heading towards. Phil Spencer, who is now the president, who has been around for quite some time and who actually cares about gamers, is bringing it back and making the Xbox One become the console that it is today, which is loved by people who play it and are actually turning people around into actually liking the Xbox One, who previously hated it for the reasons that Don Matrick put into it originally when it was first revealed. So anyways, the thing is, though, why I brought all that whole entire little spiel there is because we were told the Xbox 360 backwards compatibility with the Xbox One would never happen. And essentially they made an emulator, which we see online with old retro games. You can play them on your computer and all that kind of stuff. That's basically what they have done for the Xbox One. Build an emulator, you run the games through the system, and then they make the game available for people that have already purchased it. If you have the disc, if you've downloaded it digitally on your 360, it will transfer over when it's available for everyone holiday this year, which is really cool. And so I'm very excited about this, guys, because I have a ton of 360 games that are not currently available on the Xbox One, including Batman Arkham City, Batman Arkham Asylum, Batman Arkham Origins. It's got Halo Reach, you got your I'm trying to think of other games. Black Ops 2. You got your Black Ops 1. I got tons. I got literally over about 50 games that could possibly going on to the Xbox One. Dante's Inferno. I'm just looking through Darksiders. I'm just looking through my games at this point. Guitar Hero. Just tons of games that are literally not on the Xbox One because they haven't had a sequel. They haven't been Ultimate Edition or anything like that, or ported to the new system with upgraded graphics. So I'm extremely excited for this. So anyways, let's get into the big games for the Microsoft panel conference. Essentially, I said panel. Wow. Okay. So Halo 5 Guardians, first start off because I'm going down as it was listed here, so I'm only going to go through the ones I'm really excited about. Halo 5 Guardians showed off, which I actually reacted to, Warzone, a brand new multiplayer, which is 12v12 plus AI. You got to face off, so you're in a team of 12, and there's an enemy team of 12 plus AI enemies that will show up, either Prometheans or Covenant, so there is that, so you got to face off that. And they also showed off some campaign gameplay with Agent Locke and his team, which is really cool, and some cutscenes before and after to kind of fill in the blanks there instead of just straight campaign demo footage. They actually had some They actually had some trailer footage and some actual, cutscenes going on, which is pretty cool. We got to see the Arbiter and all that kind of stuff. I really enjoyed the Halo 5 campaign. I really thought that was really cool. It was awesome to not just see Master Chief and his group. It was cool to see Agent Locke and his team instead, so you get kind of a feel of how it's going to play when you're playing as Agent Locke and you're playing with his team instead of like, okay, we're playing as Chief again. I mean, that's exciting, but they're switching it up, so we kind of want to see the other side of everything. So I got to give them that. So for what it is, it looked beautiful. I can't wait to play Halo 5, and that campaign demo was beautiful. I'm not interested in ReCore personally. I already talked about Fallout 4. I heard that Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare is amazing, and they have the sequel, of course, but I have not played the first Plants vs. Zombies, but I heard it's a really fun game, so I may check it out. Forza Motorsport 6, I have played Forza Motorsport in the past, but I'm not currently interested in number 6. There's a ton of games coming out I'm more excited for, so let's skip on ahead to Dark Souls 3, which I did talk about in my reaction, which I thought was a really, really cool trailer, and the fact that they did not use any dialogue, and the only noise you heard besides music was the fact that this humongous knight just screaming "ooh," and that's all you heard, and that was it for Dark Souls 3. I think for what it is, we understand that the trailer is a cinematic trailer, and the look of the game is probably not going to be exactly to the T of what that was. But holy crap, I cannot wait for Dark Souls 3. I thought Dark Souls 1 was a fantastic startup. Dark Souls 2 was a great improvement in my personal opinion. I really enjoyed that second game. And honestly, if they're following the trend of what they did with Dark Souls 1 being good, Dark Souls 2, in my personal opinion, being better, Dark Souls 3 is going to be blowing my mind. Dark Souls 3 is going to be a mind-blowing game. And I wish they showed a little bit of gameplay, but they probably want to hold that off until, a little bit later down the road when they're more confident in showing it off, because it is not coming out until early of 2016, which is not that far away, but comparatively, we got to see some gameplay footage of games coming out at the end of this year, but we haven't seen really too much per se. I mean, well, we did get to see Gears 4 a little bit, which I'll get to in a second, but, I wish they would have showed a little bit of gameplay, but Dark Souls 3, for what it is, looks really, really cool. The Division, not really interested. Rainbow Six Siege, not really interested. Rise of the Tomb Raider, I know it is a timed exclusive. It's not going to be exclusive to the Xbox One. It's a time exclusive for the Xbox One. It'll be going to the PS4 later. The gameplay was kind of cool. I thought it was pretty interesting. For me personally, I'm not really a huge fan of the Tomb Raider series, but I think with this new type of darker direction, I may check out the first Tomb Raider and may look into that. But for right now, Rise of Tomb Raider looks cool, but like I said, not really a huge fan, so I'm going to continue on with the Rare Replay, which I'll talk about for a brief second, which this was kind of a huge surprise. An Xbox One exclusive, the Rare Replay, which is $30, 30 games, 10,000 gamer score. That is insane. This is from, of course, the game company Rare, who has made Banjo-Kazooie, Perfect Dark Zero, they made Battletoads, they made a bunch of games, and literally, it's insane. So you get, for $1, you earn one game from the Rare Replay collection. Only exclusive to the Xbox One if you have an Xbox One. $30, 30 games, 10,000 gamer score. Where can you go wrong? Oh, and Conker's in the game as well. Conker's in the Rare Replay as well. Conker's Bad Fur Day, I think, or something like that. So I'm very excited to see how that goes over. But for me personally, I am excited for the Rare Replay because that's a lot of games, a lot of stuff to basically, relearns, go back to those classics and then learn about and play new classics, but play classics you've never played before. So that's gonna be cool to see all that. So, Sea of Thieves, not really interested. Gears of War, the Ultimate Edition, which is of course Gears of War 1 from the 360 days, remastered, 1080p, 60 frames per second. They've added all of the exclusive stuff from the PC version onto the Xbox One version for the Ultimate Edition. So basically, it's Gears of War 1 with over 2 hours of extra content on the campaign, not be able to play it on the 360 before. So that's gonna be really cool to see there, to where they are upping Gears of War and all that cool stuff. So there's that. I'm actually playing the beta currently, which I think is pretty freaking awesome, by the way. If you have the Xbox One, definitely sign on and get into the Gears of War Ultimate Edition beta. It's awesome. Gears of War 4. I'm not going to go into too much because I talked a lot about this on my reaction, so that's basically a place you can go to hear some of my initial reaction, my initial reaction to the Gears of War 4, I thought it was awesome. I thought that the two new characters were kind of interesting, but my main question was, where the hell was Marcus Phoenix? Where the hell is Baird? Where is hell is Augustus Cole? August Cole. Wow, Augustus Cole. And where is all these characters that I've grown to love from the Gears of War series, and they're not in Gears of War 4 trailer? Now, obviously, the thing is that, that these are characters set in the future. Marcus Phoenix and his whole entire crew of people you met in the Gears of War series is dead. That sucks. Hopefully that's not the case. But we'll get to see what happens with all of that. But I mean, for what it is, the gameplay was awesome. The new enemy was kind of cool. I like the two new characters for what it is. I just need to see more, and hopefully there'll be some surprises along the way to make Gears of War 4 more exciting for me personally. So, there is my thoughts on the Xbox One, the things I'm interested in from the Xbox panel, the Microsoft conference, whatever. So anyways, guys, let's continue on with EA, which I'm only going to talk about only a few games, but those games are going to be the big ones for me personally. So let's jump into the EA. The games in order as they were revealed, as it is listed here, is Mass Effect Andromeda, that's how I pronounce that, Need for Speed, Star Wars The Old Republic, Knights of the Fallen Empire, Unravel, NBA Live 16, Plants vs. Zombies 2, Garden Warfare. Well, it's kind of weird. Plants vs. Zombies, Garden Warfare 2, but this one's listed as Plants vs. Zombies 2, Garden Warfare. I don't know. Mirror's Edge Catalyst, Star Wars Battlefront, Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. I'm going to take a sip of the drink, and then we'll continue on. We're talking about the games I'm interested in from the EA E3 press conference. Okay. So the first one I'm going to go through as going back through the orders it was. Mass Effect Andromeda. I think it's interesting. I like the name of it. I like the trailer they showed off. It was kind of interesting. It's very awkward to actually watch the actual reveal of this at the EA press conference, because it felt a lot of people in the audience just wasn't really too thrilled with this. But it is what it is. I think that the fact that there wasn't a lot of audience, reaction to the trailers, because I don't think the audience is real, that particular audience was there to hear about Mass Effect. Essentially, they were probably there to hear about, the Star Wars games and all that kind of stuff. So maybe they weren't really into it. But from what I've been seeing, people are excited for Mass Effect Andromeda. I thought the Mass Effect series 1, 2, and 3 are great games, but I'm interested to see what direction this goes. But for me personally, it wasn't my big thing from the EA press conference, but it definitely was an interesting trailer nonetheless. Let's continue on down here. Actually, you're going to skip a lot through here. Star Wars The Old Republic, which is, of course, I think Star Wars The Old Republic, I believe that is the actual PC game. I think it's a expansion essentially, which I think it's kind of cool. I mean, I know people still play and all that kind of stuff. I'm not really into PC games per se. So when, even though it's Star Wars, I'm not really into PC games that much. Skip on down here to Star Wars Battlefront, which is really the only game I really want to talk about in depth from the EA press conference personally. So Star Wars Battlefront, for me, I know that there's a lot of people, complaining already about this game, even though it looks amazing. Gameplay looks great. That Hoth battle, the co-op missions they also revealed from another trailer, beautiful, and it's pre-alpha. It just looks gorgeous. But people are complaining that Star Wars Battlefront is not going to have a lot of content per se. Right now. I mean, obviously they're going to have content down the road. They've already, announced the Battle of Jakku. They've announced other types of stuff like that to basically, enhance the experience of Star Wars Battlefront. I think the more content, if they need to focus on the content they can put in the game now, for the launch, because it looks amazing for what it is. I mean, look, just because a game has a ton of content does not make it a great game. What makes a great game is what the content is on the game at its current time, and if it's actually fun and enjoyable and engaging to the person who's playing it. I think that if Star Wars Battlefront had, 10s and 20s and 30s and 40s of hours of content to do, but it felt like that half of the missions or, half of the stuff you do in the campaign or something like that is lackluster and not exciting, then you're gonna say, well, crap, they should have, they should have made these things better. But then you wanted a lot of content. But when you got a lot of content, you had issues with half of it. So for me, as long as the content that is on the game, and not DLC later, but as long as the content that is in the game when it's first released is great, engaging, fun for me, and I'm excited to play the game, then I'm going to say it's a success. Am I going to say I wish they had more content? Maybe, but then that makes me think, well, just because I want them to have more content doesn't mean it would be good. Because, okay, fine, I want them to add 5 more missions to the game so I can have more fun. Okay, then we go back in time. Okay, give them enough time to add 5 more missions. Then we go back to the present time and pick up the game with 5 extra missions because I wanted 5 extra missions. And then watch me go, 2 or 3 of them were kind of bleh. Well, then, there you go, because they spent more time working on other stuff, and now the game is not fully immersed, and you're not really fully immersed into the entire game. You're just kind of going, well, whatever. So, for me, it's like, I want them to focus on what's best for them, and, that's what I want them to do. I want them to focus on what's the best thing for them to do at this current time. I don't want them to spread their time out to other things, including into the game, just because it's, good for them then. So, it is what it is. I think that it's just kind of dumb. Sorry, I'm kind of rambling here because literally there is, music blasting in my ears and crappy freaking ads, and it's really bothering me. So, anyways, get back to the main point here, is that the content that's on the game, if it's amazing and engaging to me, I'm fine with it. So, there's that. But anyways, I was, all over the place with that. I'm very sorry, guys. I just got caught off guard with this damn ad playing in my headset. It just made me so angry. And I'm trying not to lose control here. So, anyways, that's my thoughts on Star Wars Battlefront. I'm excited for what it is. I can't wait to play the game, and there's DLC coming. I've already pre-ordered a deluxe edition with extra content and all this kind of stuff. So, I am ready to do this. So, anyways, let's jump off into Ubisoft. Now, let's get into this. Now, big games going in order as they are, but I'll be only talking about a few, which will only be really 2 out of the games, but we're going to go down to the Ubisoft list here. South Park, The Fractured But Whole. For Honor, The Crew Wild Run. Anno, ANNO 2205. Anno 2205. Just Dance 2016, The Division, Rainbow Six Siege, Assassin's Creed Syndicate, and Ghost Recon Wildlands. So, there's only 2 games I'm going to be talking about from the Ubisoft press conference for me personally. And the first game is South Park, The Fractured But Whole. Now, honestly, I'll tell you up front, guys, I have not played the first South Park game, but I have seen tons of gameplay. I've seen Let's Plays on YouTube and all that kind of stuff. I wanted to play it, but at the time when the game came out, I did not have a full-time job. And when I finally got a full-time job, I was already not really interested in playing it because I've already seen most of the game anyways from Let's Plays and gameplay footage and all that kind of stuff. So, it is what it is. But I am excited for the South Park, The Fractured But Whole, because now I actually am able to actually play the game on the Xbox One, so I'm definitely excited for that. I like the look of it. I mean, obviously it's South Park, but I mean, it's just really cool that Matt Stone and Trey Parker are actually making South Park games, because originally it was like I think they made like a racing South Park game back in the day for the Nintendo 64, and they haven't really made anything since. So the fact that they've actually started making games with these characters and actually throwing in references and having all these things that only real South Park fans would really understand, who actually watch the show religiously would understand, is really cool. Because I mean, they can make these South Park games very generic and boring, but I mean, from what I saw from the first game, it looked hella fun, it looked exciting, and I think for this South Park, The Fractured But Whole will be another step in the right direction for the South Park games, and maybe we'll get another one pretty soon down the road, because I mean, they made this game pretty fast. I mean, I'm not sure when it comes out. I don't remember seeing a release date. They may have released a release date or not, but for me, I'm excited for South Park, The Fractured But Whole, and hopefully with this, The Simpsons and Family Guy will actually come out with games. That's not like the South Park game, but come out with games that kind of get with the trend. Because I mean, South Park has taken a storm with their first game, and I'm assuming that'll happen again with South Park, The Fractured But Whole. Take a sip of the drink. I gotta take a sip of the drink because my mouth is dry. Okay, second game on the list from the Ubisoft press conference, which is Assassin's Creed Syndicate. Now, the reason why I'm talking about this is not what you think. I'm not talking about Assassin's Creed Syndicate because it's a new Assassin's Creed game. I'm talking about it because it's getting out of hand. And I know this is probably kind of going to go into a little bit of a hateful thing, basically attacking. But for me personally, I was a fan. I actually have Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag. I have played a little bit of Assassin's Creed 2 and didn't really get into it. Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag, I haven't played it in some time actually. I've been playing other stuff. But for me, it just seems like it's the new Call of Duty. Every year there's a new Call of Duty. I know I get suckered into them. I actually enjoy the Call of Duty games, so I guess I can't really complain and all this kind of stuff. I just got to take it as it is. But for me, I don't know. I just feel like that with the Assassin's Creed games, the way they're built, you would think they would take more time to make them, especially the year when they had Assassin's Creed Unity and Assassin's Creed Rogue in the same year. But Assassin's Creed Unity was for the Xbox One, PS4, and Assassin's Creed Rogue released the same year for 360 and PS3. Completely different games, released on last gen and the new gen. That's kind of crazy. That's way out there. But for me, I feel like that Assassin's Creed Syndicate, I'm hoping that it's a success. I'm not saying I hope it fails and all this other crap. I would hope that it does succeed because, I mean, personally, we gotta look at this thing as like they need to spend more time with these games. I don't think Assassin's Creed the series should be every year a new Assassin's Creed game. It should be every 2 years or every year and a half because, with these type of games, they're not like Call of Duty. Call of Duty is, first-person shooter, run around, just shoot, kill, multiplayer, zombies, or whatever, aliens, whatever the hell is the other, mode, and that's it. But Assassin's Creed, there is actually a really in-depth story. There should be in-depth stories of Assassin's Creed games, and they seem like that they're getting, more and more just kind of basic and simplistic each year. So I'm hoping that the trend kind of changes, and they don't do a game every year. So whatever, it is what it is. Let's continue on with the Sony press conference, guys. This is going to be a pretty big deal here. Only a couple games I really want to talk about, which, looking down here, it'll be only 3 games I will be talking about on this list. So the Sony press conference, in order, the games are The Last Guardian, Star Wars Battlefront, Horizon Zero Dawn, Disney Infinity, Hitman, Shenmue 3, I believe that's how you pronounce that, Firewatch, Final Fantasy VII HD Remake, Uncharted 4, A Thief's End, Assassin's Creed Syndicate, and Black Ops 3 Call of Duty. So let's start off with the first game, The Last Guardian. My God, they finally have The Last Guardian. I was so shocked to hear about this because I honestly thought they would never announce this game. I really thought that The Last Guardian was canned. I heard a rumor about a couple months ago, maybe even last year. The Last Guardian, which has been revealed in gameplay and all this type of stuff in trailers and pictures for years. And then I heard either a couple months ago or last year, The Last Guardian was canned. It was done, and the studio was done with it. And then I didn't hear anything else. I'm not sure if the studio came out and said, we're not canning it or anything. Or they came out and said the rumor's not true. We're still working on it. I'm not sure. I didn't hear anything else after hearing the initial rumor of it was canned. Then, this E3 is the first game on this list here, as it's listed from the... Not sure if it's the first game from the Sony press conference, but finally, The Last Guardian gameplay, and they have announced and they have a release date for 2016, which I think is very exciting. I know I don't have a PlayStation 4, I probably will never get one, but the fact that the reason I'm talking about it is because it is a game that looks intriguing to me, even though I won't be able to play it unless I spend the money on a new system. But it's exciting that this company, after so long of revealing and showing footage and pictures and all this type of stuff, finally gives it a release date and finally just says it's going to be done and we're going to put out The Last Guardian. So that's definitely something really exciting to talk about there. Final Fantasy VII HD Remake. Oh my God. This is exciting. This has been teased and all this type of stuff pushed off. It's been talked about forever. Final Fantasy VII HD Remake. And originally it was supposed to be for the PS3 originally when it was talked about. Never happened. But they finally put out a trailer. And it is freaking people out. And rightfully so. Because this is literally either one of the or the most popular Final Fantasy games of all time. Cloud, Sephiroth, yes. and they're finally doing an HD remake. It's not like they're porting it to the Xbox. It's not like they're porting it to the PS4 with the original graphics. They are HD remaking Final Fantasy VII, and that is a huge deal. Now, the reason why I almost said Xbox is because it was mentioned after the trailer was shown. The guy on stage at the Sony press conference did say PlayStation 4 owners will be able to play it first on their consoles. Essentially, if you have a PS4, you'll be able to play it first on your consoles. PS4 players will be able to have it first. They didn't say it's a PS4 exclusive. They didn't say it's a Sony exclusive. They just said people with the PS4 is timed exclusive to have it first, essentially. So that makes me think, well, we know that Kingdom Hearts 3, which I'll be getting to that a little bit later with the last press conference, which is Square Enix, but we have Nintendo before that. But if they're going to be putting out Kingdom Hearts 3, they've been putting out Final Fantasy games for the past couple years on 360 on the Xbox side of things. I mean, at this point, if Final Fantasy VII HD Remake comes to Xbox One, awesome. I get to play it, and I will love it to death. I don't care if PS4 users have it for 5 or 6 months before it comes out for Xbox One. Fine. I'll deal with it. But I want to play the hell out of this game. No gameplay, of course, but with the trailer and with the little tease of Cloud, oh my god, it's freaking people out. Everyone's loving this to death. So let's continue on, guys. Just, nothing really else to say. Freaking excited. Call of Duty Black Ops 3, I am so excited for this because I feel like that this is going to be another fun game for me personally. I enjoyed Advanced Warfare for what it is. I didn't really like Ghost that much. I mean, I had a couple fun moments with it. Black Ops 2 is amazing. Excuse me. Modern Warfare, the games I love from the Call of Duty series, Modern Warfare, Black Ops, Modern Warfare 2, Black Ops 2, Advanced Warfare. I really didn't like Ghost. I really haven't liked Modern Warfare 3 that much. But I'm excited for this game. I love the Black Ops series. I love what they've done with the first two Treyarch has. So I'm excited. Even though they have signed Activision, not Treyarch, but Activision has signed a deal with Sony to release their DLC packs on the Sony side first instead of the Xbox for the several years. It's kind of a bummer for me personally because I'm not a PS4 owner or a PlayStation owner. But it is what it is. I'll have to manage. I mean, for me, I'm just excited for the game because, Black Ops 3 just looks like a cool, fun, exciting game. I don't buy Black Ops or Call of Duty games in general for a story. I buy them because for the multiplayer, for the fun with my friends. That's what I do it for. So, there you have it. Another sip of the drink. I'm dying over here. I've been talking for over 30 minutes. Probably rambling, too. There's not one real particular game that I do want to talk about from the Nintendo press conference, which is next, and then Square Enix will be last. But I do want to go down the list and talk a little bit about what I think Nintendo is doing with what I think is really helping them with stepping up in the with the current times with all of the PlayStation and Xbox stuff. So, games and Nintendo press conference, which is Star Fox Zero, The Legend of Zelda, Triforce Heroes, Metroid Prime Federation Force, Animal Crossing Happy Home Designer, Animal Crossing Amiibo Festival, Super Mario Maker Amiibo announcements, not sure what that is, Mario and Luigi Paper Jam, and Mario Tennis Ultra Smash. Now those are the games listed here off the list. I'm not sure if there was more announced. But what I want to say about the Nintendo press conference is not a particular game, but about the conference and basically what they're doing. Nintendo is doing what they should have done years ago. Because it seemed like for a couple years there, with the Nintendo Wii U released, and with the fact that the Wii U was not doing well in sales, and the fact that a lot of third-party developers were not really working with their games, that essentially Nintendo needed to step their game up with their first-party games, with their characters that they own, that they created, that they have ownership over. Because literally, third-party developers that are not really developing games, it used to be for the past couple years, Call of Duty, even though a huge franchise, not really necessarily, connecting with the Nintendo Wii U, or the Nintendo Wii, was still developing for the Nintendo Wii, still developing for Nintendo. Then Activision stopped developing Call of Duty games for the Nintendo systems. And then slowly you get to see other developers who are creating AAA titles are not making a Nintendo version. So Nintendo's kind of left out because PlayStation and Xbox owners are getting the major AAA titles that are multi-platformed and Nintendo's getting kind of left in the dust. So for Nintendo, they needed to bring out the big guns with their characters that they own, which is Star Fox, Zelda, Metroid Prime, Animal Crossing, Mario, Luigi, and all this type of stuff. They did Super Smash Brothers, the newest one, which I think was really a good step for them personally. And I think with this lineup and what they've been announcing for the Nintendo Wii U and for their actual handheld systems, which handheld systems are still selling like crazy, but for Nintendo, they needed to, push their first-party games because their third-party games are not really helping them sell systems. What will help them sell Nintendo Wii U systems in the holiday of 2015 and continuing that trend of selling systems is going to have to be pushing those first-party games, and that's what they're doing. Legend of Zelda game, a Star Fox game, Metroid Prime, a couple of Mario games, Animal Crossing. They have to push these big things that are either, exclusive to just Nintendo Wii U's or exclusive to the Nintendo brand, because that's what will bring kids and people who are excited for the Nintendo brand and the Nintendo games over to buying their console and moving over to do that. So, big props to Nintendo for that. They did some really big announcements for that. So, continuing on, the last press conference, which will be Square Enix. Go down the list here. There's only really one game to really talk about that I'm really interested in, and it'll be done with this podcast that's been going on for quite some time. So going down the list of the Square Enix games is Star Ocean, Integrity and Faithlessness, Rise of the Tomb Raider, Final Fantasy VII HD Remake, Kingdom Hearts 3, Hitman, Deus Ex Mankind Divided, Project Setsuna, Lara Croft Go, World of Final Fantasy, and Nier 2. Kingdom Hearts 3 is the only game I want to talk about, and we'll be done with this podcast, guys. Kingdom Hearts 3, to me, looked fantastic. The gameplay was awesome. And the fact that they actually showed gameplay that was actually longer than 10 seconds, because literally, the last time we got an E3 video, I believe at 2014, was literally some, montages of leading up to Kingdom Hearts 3, and then the last, after the reveal of the logo, was a couple seconds of gameplay, and that was it. So the fact that we actually got over 2 minutes of a little bit of cutscenes, some gameplay of Sora and his new basically attire, and with Donald and Goofy, and you get to see using like the different specials, like the train and the pirate ship, and riding on the back of riding on a chariot with Pegasus and all that kind of stuff. That's really, really cool. I'm really excited for Kingdom Hearts. I'm glad it's coming to the Xbox One, because I would hate it if it didn't, because I wouldn't hate the game, I would just hate the fact that we're not getting it for the Xbox One, because I'm stuck with the Xbox side of things. I had a PS2 back in the day, but for me personally, I love the 360. I loved what the 360 exclusive with Halo and Gears of War and all that. I mean, I really just don't want to step away from that and buying a new console. I could have both, but that's just a lot of money, and I have to go back and forth. So I'd rather just stick with, what I have right now. So I'm glad that Kingdom Hearts is coming over. I can't wait for this game. I wish they would have announced a release date, but they didn't. So I gotta suffer. I gotta just suffer and cry about it and hope that, we'll get a Kingdom Hearts 3 release date soon, because I mean, it's just like they've announced it it's been announced for a long time. It's been rumored for a long time, so I'm just waiting for a release date. I mean, just say it's gonna come out in 2016 holiday, and then I'll be like, okay, next Christmas in 2016, it'll be here, yay, and then I'll be happy. But for what it is, I love the look of the game. I love the gameplay. It's really, really cool to see all that. So there is that. And it's short and sweet to the point, but hey, don't want to waste time just talking just to get time. So that is the end of the podcast, guys. That is all of the discussion I have for all of the press conferences, all of the games I'm currently interested in. I'm excited to see what are some of the press conferences that stood out to you guys. What are the games that stood out to you guys? Let me know in the comment section below what conferences, what games stood out to you guys, and all that kind of stuff. Thank you guys for listening to the podcast. There are past podcasts if you guys are interested to listening to. Just check on the channel or check in the description for the link to past podcasts to check out all the podcasts I've done. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for checking me out. Peace.